They said money could buy everything, except trust. When billionaire Daniel Sterling walked into his mansion that night, exhausted from a long business trip, he expected silence, maybe the laughter of his twin children playing upstairs. But instead, what he saw inside the nursery froze his blood. His maid, Maria, someone he had trusted for years, was holding his twins in her arms, whispering something with tears streaming down her face. At first glance, it looked like betrayal. But as Daniel stood frozen in the doorway, he was about to uncover a truth far deeper, one that would change his life, his children's future, and his understanding of love forever. Chapter 1: The Weight of Riches. Daniel Sterling was not just any man, he was the face of Sterling Enterprises, one of the largest technology empires in the country. From private jets to luxury cars, from penthouses to beach villas, he had everything people dreamed of. Yet behind the grand walls of his mansion was a man carrying a hollow loneliness. His wife had passed away during childbirth, leaving him with twins, Ethan and Emma, whom he loved but rarely had time to truly be with. His empire demanded every hour, every ounce of his focus. That was where Maria came in. A quiet, middle-aged woman from a humble background, she had been hired when the twins were only a few months old. She wasn't just a maid, she was their nanny, their caretaker, their comfort when Daniel was away. The children adored her. They clung to her apron when she walked by, laughed when she played silly games, and fell asleep when she hummed lullabies. But behind Daniel's success was also suspicion. His board members whispered about betrayal in business. Lawyers reminded him that loyalty was rare, even in households. And somewhere along the line, Daniel's trust became brittle. He began to watch people differently, questioning their motives, even Maria's. After all, why would someone dedicate their entire life to raising another man's children unless there was something they were secretly after? On one particular evening, Daniel's plane landed hours earlier than expected. He didn't announce his arrival. For once, he wanted to surprise his twins. The mansion was dimly lit, and most of the staff had left. He quietly walked toward the nursery, his footsteps muffled by the velvet carpet. He could already hear soft humming, a melody so gentle it tugged at his chest. And then he saw it. Maria was holding both twins close to her chest, rocking them gently. Tears glistened on her face as she whispered words Daniel couldn't understand at first. Her voice cracked with emotion as she said, "You will never be alone, my darlings. Not as long as I live. Even if the world forgets you, I never will." Daniel froze. To him, it looked like overstepping, a maid claiming his children as her own. His heart thudded in anger and confusion. Was this manipulation? An attempt to steal their affection from him? His fists clenched, and for the first time, he felt rage toward the woman who had practically raised his children. He cleared his throat loudly. Maria jumped, startled. The twins stirred in her arms but didn't wake. Her face went pale when she saw Daniel standing at the doorway, his eyes filled with suspicion. The silence between them was heavy, sharp, almost unbearable. Chapter 2: The Truth in the Shadows. "Put them down," Daniel ordered, his voice colder than he intended. Maria hesitated, then gently laid the sleeping twins back into their crib. Her hands trembled as she adjusted their blankets. When she finally turned to face him, her eyes weren't defensive, they were broken, filled with a pain Daniel didn't understand. "Mr. Sterling, I wasn't doing anything wrong," she whispered. Daniel's jaw tightened. "Then explain. Why were you crying over my children? Why were you speaking as if they were yours?" Maria's lips quivered. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, in a voice that carried years of hidden sorrow, she confessed, "Because they remind me of the two I lost." The words hit Daniel like a storm. Maria went on, tears streaming down her cheeks. She told him how she once had twins of her own, two little boys with eyes as bright as Ethan and Emma's. But a car accident had stolen them away years ago. She had never recovered, never remarried, never truly lived again. When she saw the Sterling twins for the first time, so small, so fragile, she had felt something stir in her broken heart. She wasn't replacing her children, she was healing through loving his. Daniel's anger melted into silence. He stared at her, this woman who had given more to his children than he ever could, and realized the truth he had been blind to. Maria was not trying to take his children away. She had been filling the void his wealth and busy schedule had left behind. She had been their mother in ways he never could since his wife's death. For the first time in years, Daniel's pride cracked. He walked closer, his voice softer now. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" Maria shook her head. "Because this was never about me, sir. It was about them. They needed love. And I needed to give it." Daniel felt an ache in his chest. He reached out and placed a hand on her shoulder. For once, the billionaire didn't see Maria as a maid, but as family. That night, he didn't return to his office or retreat to his study. Instead, he sat beside Maria by the crib. Together, they watched Ethan and Emma sleep peacefully, their tiny chests rising and falling in unison. In that quiet room, Daniel realized that riches and empires meant nothing if he couldn't protect the love his children were surrounded with. And Maria, with all her scars and silent sacrifices, was the heart that had kept his family alive. From that day on, things changed. Daniel made time for his twins. He treated Maria not as staff but as part of the family. And in the eyes of Ethan and Emma, their world was whole again, because love had no price tag, and sometimes, the people we least expect are the ones holding our lives together. Sparkle's inspiring message to end with. True family isn't always bound by blood. It's bound by love, sacrifice, and the courage to care when no one else will.